Now let's get down to business and build out your juicy framework. This is your process that ensures you are delivering on your promise. Here's what I want you to know. Every good offer has a process that it follows to deliver on your big promise and creating the best possible experience for your customer. But you have to take time to map it out. There is nothing worse than a disorganized buying process. Think about the last time you bought something, and if it gave you any type of frustration, guaranteed you are not pulling out your wallet. So let's answer the question, how does your offer work? I want you to write out the steps, all the steps you can think of, and everything you can imagine that takes the customer from the minute they see your offer to that process of checking out to you delivering on that offer. So let's do an exercise. This is your offer framework checklist. There is no wrong way or right way to do this, just your way. And it will change and evolve the more experience you get at delivering your offer. So have a little grace with yourself. But I want you to be able to answer all of these questions, and we're going to go through them one by one. So, first question is, what's the investment in time or money to deliver on your promise? What does the customer have to invest in time and money? So, for example, is it 6 weeks? Is it 6 sessions? Is it $1,000 for whatever it is? But you've got to know what it is. And the key thing here is, what's the investment of time or money to deliver on your promise? So not as long as it takes necessarily. Don't think from that point of view. Think of, if I'm guaranteeing X, how long will it take for them to get that X? If it's going to take you 6 weeks, if you want to say 6 weeks, but you know it's going to take you 8, make sure you say 8. You always want to manage expectations. The next thing I want you to look at, and this example is for Mindset Coach, and the offer is a 6-week program, right? So that's what the examples are based on. But the next question I want you to ask yourself is, what happens once they click purchase? There's an example of, well, they're going to get a welcome email welcoming them into the program. Then I'm going to invite them to a private Facebook group, and it goes on from there. So what happens with you, right? And yours may not be coaching, it may be consulting, it may be building out their copy, you may be a social media manager, but what happens? People want to be taken care of. There has to be a process in place from the time of purchase so people never have buyer's remorse. The next question you need to ask yourself is, what can they expect going forward? So in this case, the example is weekly live coaching. They're going to get emails from our team. They're going to get an online resource portal. What the world is yours. Whatever you want to give them, give them. Make sure it's all aligned with delivering on your promise. The next thing you want to be able to answer is, how do you envision your potential client experiencing this offer? In this case, the example is inside a group setting. Maybe it's an in-person, or it's virtual, or it's an online course. But for you, how are they going to experience it? People always want to know what's next. Are we going to have phone calls? Can I only talk to you through email? Can I pick up the phone and call you? Let me tell you from experience, you don't want them to be able to always pick up the phone and call you. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. The next question I want you to be able to answer is, what are the key milestones of your offer? This is really important. There are going to be a certain process you take them through, and there's going to be different points in that process that they're going to get a win or things they have to conclude or achieve before they can move on to the next step. That's what their key milestones is. In this case, because it's a 6-week coaching program, in week 1, they have to identify their limiting beliefs, their mindset coach, right? In week 2, they have to have their empowering mantra. So if you have a process or you have something you teach, this is where you want to put in your methodology, and you're like, well, you can't move on to step 6 until you've done step 1, 2, and 3. So similar to how we are building out your pricing and your offers here, you can't put a price to something until you've established its value. You can't establish its value until you know what it is, and you don't know who, and until you know who you're targeting. So there's a process. The next question is, what actions do they need to take in order to complete each milestone? So there's things that the client needs to do or the customer needs to do in order to move on to the next step. If you need them to fill out a form, if you need them to fill out an intake, if you need them to complete a workbook, whatever that is, what do they need to do? When you know what they need to do, you're able to tell them this in advance, and then nobody is surprised when they're like, I didn't know you needed me to do that. I'm sorry I ignored your email for how many weeks? And this happens when you're in business because they don't understand the importance of it. The next question I want you to answer for yourself is, what will they walk away with at the end? Everybody wants to know, what am I going to have in my hand? We talked about the benefits before, right? That's one thing they're going to feel. They're going to move on. They're going to give you testimonials about. They're like, they saved me time, they saved me money. But this is different. I want you to think about what are the tangible things they have in their hand, right? So in this case, this mindset coach, they're saying when you finish the 6-week program, you're going to have tools, you're going to have a money planning workbook, and you're going to have a 6-week budget. So people want to know, what am I paying for? This is a really important question. So I want you to be able to write this one out for sure, which is, what will they walk away with after you've fulfilled on your big promise? Write everything you can think of down. Here are your action items. Map out all the steps that happen from the moment someone purchases your offer, and then write out your big promise in 1 to 2 sentences.